Brawler, an aggressive fighter who uses their superior size and strength to overwhelm an opponent. Physical fighter, when in close quarter or melee range, after dealing an injury to an opponent, can choose to roll opposed strength to potentially stagger, prone, disarm, or knock back an opponent, with the caveat that the opponent can do the same if they roll better. Knockout blow, after dealing a level 2 injury within melee or close quarter, can choose to instead attempt to knock out the opponent. No pain, no gain. After receiving an injury, the character's combat roll increases by 1, the negative from the injury still applies, can be triggered a maximum of 3 times during combat. Anime protagonist. They don't give up, and somehow, some way, they always win in the end. Strength of will, rolls willpower with advantage. Super Saiyan. By spending a soul point, they can add their injuries to a combat roll instead of subtracting them. They then immediately take a point of exhaustion. The power of friendship. During combat, your allies gain a soul point. Fighter. For some, fighting is a necessity. For others, it's a calling. Second Wind. Regain all lost points in body. Requires a long rest before being able to be used again. Surge. By spending a point in body, may take a second action, either an attack or movement, not both. Powerful Blow. By spending a point in body, may add 2 guaranteed successes to their attack roll. Tank. Inner strength is all well and good, but sometimes outer strength is where it's at. Unbreakable. Rolls defense with advantage. If the character successfully defends an attack, can use an extra success to stagger, disarm, or prone an opponent. Unshakable. Challenge level to be staggered, proned, or disarmed is increased by 1. Unstoppable. Has a natural point of damage reduction. Rolls Constitution with advantage. Seasoned. An experienced combatant who's been around the block. Muscle Memory. When triggered, every point in body adds 2 to the character's combat roll instead of 1, but any points in soul do not add to their combat roll. Old Friend. Roll with advantage with a weapon. Not an entire weapon class or a weapon type, but a single specific weapon. I know your tricks. Cannot be panicked, goaded, dazzled, or taunted. Rolls Insight with advantage. Clumsy. They deal so much damage, and so little of it directed at the bad guys. Panic Attack. Every point in soul adds 2 to their combat roll, but points in mind do not add to their combat roll. Flail. In the character's combat roll, everyone within striking distance, the enemies, their allies, the character, receives a point of damage. Can be negated with armor or points in body. Chaos. At the start of their turn, roll 2 dice. Sometime during this round of combat, they will inadvertently trigger one of these effects. You are, an ally is, no one, everyone is, an enemy is, the enemy you are fighting is, staggered, lightly injured, disarmed, knocked prone, seriously injured, potentially knocked unconscious. Rage Monster. A force of nature whose anger lets them achieve the seemingly impossible. Inhuman Strength. The character can use very large and oversized weapons without taking a negative. Roll Strength with advantage. Mindless Rage. When triggered, every point in body adds 2 to their combat roll, but any points in mind do not add to their combat roll. Reckless Attack. A powerful attack that leaves the character's defenses wide open, adds 2 successes to their combat roll, but deducts 2 from their defense roll. Rolling 3 successes means they are dealing 5 points of damage, but it's only challenge level 1 to hurt them. Predator. Preying on the weak and vulnerable, they gain strength as their opponent grows weaker. Sense Weakness. Adds a point to their combat roll for every point in body they have over an opponent, but reduces it for any points lower than their opponent. When an opponent is staggered, disarmed, prone, or otherwise debuffed, the character attacks with advantage. Blood in the Water. Twice per combat encounter, after injuring an opponent, they may add 1 to their combat roll. Panic Attack. As a bonus action, can roll influence against the character's willpower. If successful, their opponent will panic, and their next roll will be at disadvantage.